Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Stad Pearson, and today I'm joined by the Wakandan Ambassador to the United States Military, one Michael Dat Hill.
Few more days till I go to Germany.
Enjoy the booze and do not forget what I told you about teenagers. Seriously though, don't forget that. I'll type it later if you forget. Okay. Topic 1. Crediting designers in video games sadly is not a guarantee. What can and should be done to prevent this disgusting practice? Topic 2. The rumored new season... Sorry. The rumored new feature of the PlayStation 5 gives game developers the ability to detect through artificial intelligence and algorithms if you are being beaten, which then automatically generates a link or an advertisement to an item or special weapon or feature that could possibly increase your odds of success. Can any good come from even allowing a feature like this to happen? Topic 3. Limitations on DLC, if at all. Although initially MMO games are the only ones I need to constantly create new content, it is not uncommon for successful offline games to continuously make new material by way of DLC. However, sometimes the DLC can supersede the file size of the game itself or inevitably cost more than the initial purchase. Is there a set limit that should be in place for how much DLC should happen for a single title? Or should it be truly unlimited but risking lower adaptation or download by people who buy the game when it's old? Topic 4. What game studios do you think pay the most attention or at least have the highest quality of writing? Side note, if we go through these too fast, I'm probably going to add a fifth topic just because a lot of things have happened fairly recently that we could discuss. All right, Hill, you go ahead and go in there while I do some corrections on topic 2.
Crediting the people who designed the game over the people who, well, not over, but like giving just them the credit saying, you see that tree over there? I did that. I don't know, because most of the time they think, just put the name at the end of the game. And like, they'll probably see it. But when it comes to like the special, like, credits, like the credits I'll actually pay attention to, where they actually use like different cutscenes for like a post game. Anything like like with Devil May Cry, when like after you fucking get Virgil's notebook and fucking Nero's reading it, and then he's just like, Devils May Cry, let's see how that sounds like, and you get like the little cutscene at the end, or you like fight the 3 demons or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like around that part is what I pay attention to. Other than that, I try to skip it. If they put them like there, that'd be nice. Or put them in the beginning of the game. Or at least try to have a whole developmental, like, segment. Like, at least they talk, so you can put a name to the face. Like, hey, we did this, that, and the other. But I don't know, this credits in general is always hard. Because some people view more things than the other. Like, sometimes voice actors are cool, but I really wouldn't remember every voice actor from every, like, a minor detail from a character that I've, like, killed in 2.5 seconds, if less. So, things could be done better, would be hard as fuck. Oh, yeah, that is a problem. Actually put them in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Actually find better ways to incorporate your people, because you've made them spend about days, weeks, and months away from people they love and care for to make a game that could flop either way, and then you decide not to say you don't get any credit. No, do the classic thing. Put them in the credits. Put them in the intro, the ending. Somewhere along the lines, hell, even in the pause menu, like what they did with fucking Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Every blade that was constructed has a personal designer next to the name of the thing they made. So actually give credit to the individual and the group work that was put into the product that you made them slave away on. Then 2, PS5, reading how good and bad you are at the game to promote different things to help you make it better than the game. Be interesting to see, because everybody has their own level of skill, and I could see that could be the way to put it, them over. However, people can abuse this, like any system that would give anybody the upper hand. They would try to find the upper hand from the jump. Like, oh, okay, I know this exists, and how to get it is like that. If somebody's gonna put a fucking tutorial on how to get this thing the hard way, someone's gonna put a tutorial on how to get the easy way. So then everybody's just gonna be baselined at like max level shit when they shouldn't be. So I feel like an aspect is gonna suck the fun away if this keeps up for like a lot of games where they can just bypass it without, being able to do anything to say they've earned it. And then also just like, that's not how a game should be played. If they're bad, they learn or look up a guide, and then even then the guy will still fuck them up. Because you look up how to beat Sephiroth 100 times, but your sword build is different than their sword build, so you're just out of luck. I went with the shield option at the beginning of the game, so my defense is higher, but my attack is lower.
And you get all of the special moves later than like everything else on the entire skill tree.
True enough. A DLC that comes in later, courtesy of the gaming company. Let's see.
That one's gonna be tough for me.
Yeah, there needs to be a finite DLC list, because we already hate DLC as a whole, and some games just put out DLC that I think about, because with Final Fantasy XIV, like, I came in when the Heaven Sword came out, and then they put out one or two new DLCs after Heaven Sword, when I barely got through Realm Reborn. I haven't even got to Heaven Sword yet. So it's just like, you really need to slow that shit down so people can get a full aspect of the base game. If you are going to put in like DLC, do like what Skyrim does, and don't make it a very heavily meta-changing game experience change. Make it just like some quality of life shit, like, Hearthfire. Because you can already see what happens when you get under heat making DLC, like Pokemon was. Everybody wants the National Dex back and the GTS, and some people are like, look, I appreciate the fact that you cut down half of the Pokemon so I can actually complete the Pokedex for once. And then you just slowly bringing them back in, that's even better. But again, I can also understand that with Pokemon Home, and then Pokemon Bank, and then the Rise of Isle, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, they have too much.
You have to spend just to play a Pokemon game, if you are trying to 100% complete it, this up-and-coming Pokemon game, or Sword and Shield, and then all this other shit. So it's just like, you just keep tacking on stuff that nobody wants to pay for. Hopefully that eventually be your downfall. But we'll never know. Game studios that has the highest quality of writing. Early Telltale, when they did the Walking Dead with Clem, and I cannot think of the black guy's name from that. Or like their early things, like with the Wolf Among Us and shit. Like, they're good Telltale games before they
fucked it all. Yeah.
Yeah, they made the Batman game.
And that's like being nice.
Mm-hmm. So early Telltale, when they actually made good, really great stories about great franchises and actually made your choices feel impactful. Monolith Soft, because every Xenoblade game I've played, I've always been emotionally invested in and never want to skip a cutscene, because it's just like, oh my god, I need to know what is happening. So it's just mind-blowing for everything in their games, because they make every instance in one, dang, I really gotta think about this before I choose one. Mm,
Take your time.
I guess the Until Dawn series, because those whole sets up are just like insane. Watching the prank had gone wrong, and then the guy he get back at you, which you deserve every bit of it if you literally prank their sisters and they run out and they fucking die. There's no room for forgiveness.
Fun fact: the lead enemy, if you can call him that, went on to win multiple awards and acclaim for his acting ability. Not in that particular title, but in general. He plays the main character in a show called Mr. Robot, and he also played Freddie Mercury in the Queen mini biopic documentary thing. His name is Rami Malek. He is Egyptian.
And lastly, the Half-Life and Bioshock people, because again, people have been waiting for Half-Life 3 for Lord knows how long. So the story has to be that good, in my opinion, if you're going to hold out for about 20 plus years for Valve to make a new game. And just Bioshock and all of that whole setup is just insane on how the best way to escape humanity is to go underwater, but then that's even a lie within itself. Just like that whole scenario is just mind-boggling. That's it for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think we will add a fifth because we're going to blow through these real quick. But I'm going to write it right now. And when we get to it, it will, I guess, surprise the very limited audience we have with it. Give me a second. Okay, topic one for me. The practice is very, very simple. I hate to say it, but this is one of those situations where everyone needs to band together to take class action lawsuit. Let me be absolutely clear on this. Because I can't remember the name of the studio, but it was the team that did the Warhammer 40K game. Mind you, that game's old hat by now. Yeah, that company only credits people who show up the day that they're making credits. So if they outsource anything, say like in Florida, not Florida, or just out of state or out of country, tough titty boo-boo. Nah, fuck that. Do you know what it's like to do something professionally or freelance, get paid to do it, but then you can't work in the future because you aren't properly credited? Fuck that. No. Just because you don't have it in your rules and regulations at any fucking point in time that, oh yeah, we're mandatorily going to be obligated to credit you, doesn't mean that it's not a foregone conclusion. They can make all the legal arguments you want to, but in the work of entertainment or cinematography, it is a well-known fact that people are supposed to be credited to show that they worked. Because not crediting them could have so many ramifications. Can you imagine if you set up your taxes to get a shit ton of money based off what your job is, but then your boss can't verify you fucking work there? Or they can't use the EIN number that a lot of people use on their taxes to verify that this job exists and you work there? Nah, that wouldn't fly with anybody. You tell anybody you're not going to get your tax refund, man, they going to explode on your ass. Fuck that. Like, the fact that I even have to say this, but this is how unions get made. Even though there is no law and there will never be a law preventing the creation or establishment of a union and a workplace, let me tell you, this is one of those things that they would immediately fix. And there would be no reasoning or excuse as to why it hasn't been done, because there isn't one. It's disgusting. And here's the thing, though. This is a very unique issue. This doesn't actually happen in a lot of Far Eastern fucking companies. Konami's an exception, but hey, you know, Konami is run by a human scumbag. He just likes money. That's it. So this just tells me that the only way to stop this is with class action lawsuits and the birth of a union on a national/international scale. They want to fuck up your life for their profit, but they can't even credit. Oh yeah, here's a person we made miss the fucking birth of his child, as well as every single birthday he's had for 2.5 to 3 years. Nah. Fuck that. It's wrong and it's disgusting. Topic 2, because I don't want to. I could rant on that shit all day. Topic 2. Okay, this new feature disturbs me greatly. And I'm going to tell you why, because I don't predict this being used for any type of positive trait whatsoever. Can it be used for something positive? Probably, but I can't. The first 10 that come to mind are all fucked up and negative. Because this will now call into question difficulty scaling. Now, we talked about this. You weren't in that particular episode, and I kind of regret it because I wish you could be in it at that point. But we actually discovered and found out that video games almost as far back as 2004 have been hard-coded to soften up the difficulty, no matter what difficulty you're playing on, in real time. Since 2004. Let me ask you something, Hill. You play Resident Evil 4?
I have not.
Damn, have you played any Resident Evils?
Raccoon City, but that's a rough estimate calling it a Resident Evil game.
Yeah, Raccoon City Stories. No, that was more like hot booty garbage, featuring Resident Evil characters. So fuck. Well, if you don't like horror, that's fine. You go pick up 6. 6 is not scary. 6 is a fucking cartoon show / action movie. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but you might like that one. Also, you can move and shoot in that one. But okay, so this is just an example. You have low ammunition. You've got, say, middle tier health, like you're 50% health, and there's 5 enemies in front of you. Now, here's the thing. They always tell you that in any good zombie game, a headshot is a critical shot. It's not a guaranteed kill, but it can stun the enemy. Or if they got low HP, it can be the deciding factor in a death versus a stun. But what if I told you, because you were at 50% health, and even though this is, we'll say, hard mode, you're at 50% health, you got maybe 2 bullets left, and there's a zombie you haven't shot directly in front of you. You shoot him in the head, and his head automatically explodes and dies. Does that sound fair to you?
Much of a letdown if you're trying to build suspense if I'm going to live or die or not.
Exactly. So, fucking, this is something that has been going on apparently for over or close to, if not longer than 20 years time. And my thought now is that they could artificially inflate the difficulty just to try to convince me to buy a microtransaction or a DLC power-up. Every situation I mentally picture them using this supposed feature in, is negative. So I'm gonna just flat out say it. No, I don't see any good coming from that. And I'm actually kind of scared, because now I feel like that kid who thought he was winning at everything in life, turns out he finds out when he's 30, oh, your parents paid for everything. And you've just been lied to. That's what I feel like. I actually know 2 people that happened to. Man, it was a weird month for them. One didn't get out the bed for 12 hours one day. It's fucking scary. But yeah, let me move into topic 3. She looks lonely. I'm going to just come out and say it. Yes, there should be a fucking limit. Because we all know what's going on at this point. I've been saying it on and off for over a decade before there was a podcast. When DLC is made, it's to try to make the money that couldn't be made from a physical sale and then some. So when DLC started being the deciding factor between a game sometimes being profitable or not, that can completely warp how you handle your own fan base. Because we all know how it is. There's a group of rich assholes, or not even rich assholes, just delusional people who decide all DLC is a good idea. Fuck the haters. Give me more shit. I'll pay any price. Which is stupid. And it lets them, and it makes them think that it's okay to do shit like that. When it's not. And that's a scary mindset to have. Hey, you're basically telling somebody, hey, you can beat me any way you want to. As long as while you beat me, you set my arm on fire. No. Hell no. Not everyone in the world who has access to video games is going to have the internet. Period. Not to mention, this DLC is rarely discounted. They may bundle some of the DLC, but you'll never see a 100% everything bundle unless the DLC was a one-of situation. Like literally, there was only one other piece of DLC. Because they already know if they reproduce this on a disc, it might not fit. And they don't even plan for it to be that. Or it'll be a situation where you're going to make them choose between buying the DLC outright 100% and installing it on a pre-used copy, or only a new version of the game offline can get all this DLC to fit without it making a giant system install that you may not have space for. The term that's commonly used, even though it's a nickname, is Confusopoly. Instead of having different tier versions of a product that includes all previous tier versions of itself, looking at you, Assassin's Creed limited edition horse shits, we'll handpick what does and does not go into each version of a special edition. It's fucking dumb. That would be like me selling you a car, and then I sell my friend the same car, but his doesn't come with a steering wheel, but his comes with a functioning engine. You see how stupid it sounds when you say it out loud? Fucking, and that's what really gets to me. I don't want to hate, I don't want to disrespect the video game industry. I want to trust it. But the problem with any form of industry is when it becomes 100% nothing but an object of trying to get corporate greed. We end up with weird ass situations like this that normally wouldn't happen in any industry that has any level of passion. Hollywood has both. They have passion and they have, corporate bullshit. Some people act because they like acting. Some people act because I can get a fat ass check. That's just the way it is. They won't admit to it, but they exist. We all know they exist. Gaming is supposed to have the best of everything. Those corporate assholes, yeah, they can go do whatever the fuck they want to. But then you got the indie crowd who, in the digital age, can genuinely survive, even surpass sales figures and expectations of other companies, because they have almost a 70 to 80% return on investment, and they might not even cover marketing because, well, word of mouth travels well in the game industry. But here we are with this, everyone's obsessed with DLC on some level crap. You basically can't even trust DLC, even if it's by a company with a good reputation. You have to go inherently by what's presented to you. Do I need to bring up Pokemon? No, you did it. Do I need to bring up Smash Brothers? No, you did it. Don't get me started on Dead or Alive. Still have nightmares. But these companies need to have a predetermined DLC limit when it's not a game that's meant to be played indefinitely or until they can't afford to support the game online, if it's not intended to be online. They need to have hard limits. They need to stop making DLC before the damn game is even finished so we can get games that come out not buggy. Because basically, unless it's Nintendo, which is a fluke, everybody else's games show up the gate day one patch because they're buggy. Fighting games are excluded, of course. Now for topic 4. Who has the highest quality writing? People feel how they feel about him, but I'm gonna just say Rockstar, because Rockstar has been the only company I've ever seen be able to simultaneously hit every single possible checkbox on a video game when it comes to interest or purchase factor. Obsessively good and consistent online experience, obsessively good and consistent offline experience, cosmetic DLC as well as story-related DLC, and building player interest in these worlds that they have. Grand Theft Auto as a series. What's the other one with the cowboys? Shit. What's that cowboy game they make? Hill?
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption. They can create and have created games that take so long to come out that most people would have lost interest in trying to get a hold of them. Contrary to popular belief, patience is a virtue, and patience does exist in the video game industry. We're forced into patience. But lack of interest does happen. It does. So let me be the first to tell you, point blank. Point fucking blank. Listen. If you want to see the gap bridged between good story writing and game, stop trying to fuck with Hideo Kojima. Because he never found the balance. He just does what he wants to. And if someone improves or messes with his stuff and makes it better or more coherent, he has a history of taking it an extremely petty way and cutting ties with them or trying to get rid of them, even though they technically helped him out. You feel how you feel about his work situation with Konami, but let me be clear. That man has never deserved the title of auteur for video games, especially when he himself has not only said on the record, but was splashed on the front of a magazine page in the early 2000s that video games are not a storytelling medium. So for him to get this acclaim seems a little bit dangerous to me, but that's a whole nother mess of shit. It's Rockstar Games. Because they have a consistent quality, not because you want to progress the story, but because you want to see what happens in it. And that's a big difference. When you beat a game, you're beating it because you paid for it. And it was fun to play. But when you want to care about the story, that's when you do everything else and beat the game, or outside of beating the game. You go do the side quests, all of that stuff. And a very, very close second, CD Projekt Red, which I don't know why they chose to do that, the whole JY thing, but Project Red, CD Projekt Red. However, the thing about CD Projekt Red is that you have to remember, I say that, take that with a grain of salt, because remember, The Witcher, which is the main reason that they're getting this score, is not a product or title that they created from scratch. They took an entire universe of stories and possible material to pull from, and they made a base on it. The person who creates the planet from scratch will always be viewed as a god, but the person who controls the planet can never be more than a king. Damn, I need to write that down. That was really good. Straight made that up. Go me. So yeah, that's how I feel. And since we, breezed through this a little too fast, let's throw in this bonus topic. Okay, so Brian Hanford, a.k.a. the goth kryptonite of Devil May Cry 5, voice actor and face of V and professional little brother to Adam Driver, he stated recently on Twitter he's looking forward to the next Marvel vs. fighting game because you'll see some old and new faces return. As we know right now, he is not involved on anything of that nature. As of right now. So, even if his character is being utilized, V, in a future crossover game, first off, cool. I mean, I don't like playing as V, but I like his aesthetic. He's a Chaos Legion character, which is why there were Chaos Legion memes made about him literally from the time they first showed him off. But realistically, somebody snitched to him, and I feel like he wasn't even set up to record anything. So yeah, my question to you though is, do you think it's a continuation of Marvel Infinite? Hopefully not. Marvel vs. Capcom 4, Capcom vs. SNK 3, maybe Tatsunoko vs. Capcom 2. Just what fighting game do you think it is, or is this something new from scratch, Hill?
Considering all the thing that was given, I would say they're gonna try to revive the NBC of natural version, go into number 4. Because if we're gonna add V again, we gotta keep moving on down the line, because Infinite didn't do so well. Hell, when Infinite came out, they just like literally got cut from Evo. And then this year, they got re-added by Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So, there's no point of trying to remake a game that nobody likes. So instead, let's go from the ground up. Or not from the ground up, but like redo the whole Marvel vs. Capcom thing again, because everybody loved that. It was a simple, simplistic, fighting game with all their properties.
Now, see, here's my thing. It's a little bit, maybe you probably didn't come on. You came on late, so you don't know, but you know Final Fantasy XIV, ARR, is a remake of Final Fantasy XIV, right?
Not at all.
Okay, so, and it was pretty cool at the time. It was a shitty story, but it was pretty cool at the time. Okay, so this is when we're winding down of the dark times of Square Enix when Yoichi Wada was in charge before he stepped down because he sucked. They rushed out the original version of Final Fantasy XIV. It was so bad that characters could literally fall through the game indefinitely. Like, they didn't even have the ground finished. And they just said, we'll patch it as we go. Because, you know, that's the video game's answer for everything. However, this is an MMO video game. You know how MMO people are. If your shit can't function, we bounce. Also, remember, Final Fantasy XIV ain't free. Except for a certain few people, but we'll get into that later. So, what happened is, they brought on a person who has a history of literally going out of his way to fall in love with MMOs over video games. And the first thing he told him to do was completely and utterly destroy and scrap this version of the game. So what he did was he put in a special enemy that no one could fuck with that created a meteor or a giant ball that looked like the sun in the sky. And the closer the game got to it closing, the bigger the ball got. Until eventually he did something that created Apocalypse, which gave birth to Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, which is what you play right now. It's pretty cool, right? He fixed it.
That honestly lines up with the story I'm stuck in.
Yeah, and that's really cool. Nobody in the history of MMOs has ever done that. Most games, when they fuck up and they want to come back as an MMO or an online-only game, they just close down the servers or they put a subtitle, such and such game, remastered, remixed, unleashed, blah, 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 right? But these guys made it a story element, but also for anyone who had an account on Final Fantasy XIV, if they come back, they get the game for free indefinitely. So they have a permanently free account. The only other game that gives permanent free accounts without any payment to any third party is Phantasy Star Online 2. Because with Phantasy Star Online 2, everything is copped. So you ain't got to pay for internet on the Switch to use the Switch version. You ain't got to pay for PlayStation Gold on the PlayStation 4 version. I don't know what Microsoft gonna do. But I think it's free as long as you play on an Xbox for Microsoft. So they might be continuing the tradition. Yeah, that's actually pretty fucking cool. Now, for me though, I'm paying attention to his wording. See, let me pull up the screenshot real quick. I want to say this just right. Okay, sorry for the delay. All right, his exact words: 6/16 on the 15th. Absolutely pumped for the next Capcom versus game. New characters, but could be very familiar. New characters, but could be very familiar. That line is what truly, truly confuses me, because that could mean the XMen are coming back, because that's what we wanted. But they would count as new characters in the sense if they did a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite expansion, because they would be new to Infinite, but they would be old characters. Kind of like Venom. Venom was new DLC for Infinite, but he was an old character. Or it could be there's a Capcom Fighting All-Star sequel coming. I don't know if you remember that, or rather you probably won't, because like always, when Capcom moves on to a new game or a new fighting game, they pretend like the previous ones fucking don't exist anymore. But one of the last 2D fighting games, if not the last 2D fighting game Capcom made, was called Capcom Fighting All-Star Jam. Right? Now, this game basically was Capcom fighting with itself, and everything was in 2D. There were characters that sometimes weren't even in the game that would be in an ending cutscene, which classic Capcom, by the way. Also, still hate that shit, because all it makes me think is, why didn't you put this character in the game? They had fucking Blade fighting vampires and zombies with Jill Valentine in her ending. Where the fuck was Blade? But that's a rant from 2009, so I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not sure what this means, but I think it's a two-way toss-up between Marvel vs. Capcom 4 or fucking Marvel Infinite is getting a redo or remake, which is technically it's happened with every other Marvel vs. game on some level. They either get a redistribution or they get an upgrade. MVC 3 got both. MVC 2 and 1 redistribution out the ass. X-Men vs. Street Fighter redistribution 2. But Infinite is the only one who ain't had shit else. So I think they taking this extra time to add more recent characters too. Personally, I hope V gets in over fucking Nero. I still hate Nero. Virgil was supposed to already be a done deal. They were just converting him and making him balanced for MVCI, But, they said fuck production. Also, obviously, we want the X-Men. Where is my Gambit? Where is my Iceman? Why are they stuck in 2D when they were some of the most played characters in the whole franchise? Tears be damned. Actually, I think Iceman was pretty high on that tier anyway. But, anyways. Okay, so that's how I feel. That aside, Hill, is there anything you're looking forward to or you want to tell the 0.4 people in the audience about?
Hey, Animal Crossing's coming out. And
shit.
the new Mystery Dungeon coming out that 2 weeks after, or a week, I don't know, because Animal Crossing... No, Animal Crossing comes out on the 10th, and Mystery Dungeon comes out on the 5th. So they just come out relatively close. I mean, sure, you can get Doom, but everybody knows you want to build that fucking island with Tom Nook. Be happy.
You will probably always be a kid at heart, but hey, ain't nothing technically wrong with that. Well, up on my end, this is more of a ask for people. And obviously, if I'm right, I want to be quoted in the future. I'm going to go see Black Widow. It is a little bit interesting that for the first time ever, the end of a contract for a character is their prequel. I would love for a James Bond contract to end with the origin of the James Bond character. But, Black Widow's ending is her beginning, so to speak. Also, Scarlett Johansson reprising the character. But see, here's the thing. Everyone knows that the main villain that she's fighting looks a lot like Taskmaster. Same shield, shit like that. Well, let me ask you this. Taskmaster would have to be damn near 60 or 70 if he was, in fact, fucking around with Black Widow right after she finished her training. Because Black Widow is old. When we get to, the first Avengers movie. No, not the first Avengers movie. The second Avengers movie. Black Widow, I believe, is supposed to be something like over 50 or just at 50. So, I'm thinking, and this pisses me off because this is like a different version of tokenism. I think that they're putting Taskmaster in the Marvel Universe, but they're making it a fucking woman. And before the internet tries to bite my head about this, I do not have a problem with women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact, if you know anything about me in Iron Fist Season 2, the women pretty much carried almost every major event in that whole fucking story. And I fucking liked it. Oh, I love me some Typhoid Mary. I don't like Crazy Woman, but I like Typhoid Mary. She didn't ask to be that pretty. Then again, she has long hair, so... Every man has his weaknesses. But Typhoid Mary and most of the females in that show are actual Marvel characters. Some super, some normal. And they carried the show. They carried the story. And, two of them were involved in some of the most action-filled episodes. So there is no reasoning whatsoever or logic that dictates that they can carry an action show or that, women shouldn't be as involved in whatever bullshit reasoning there is for the lack of women. Sometimes it's an accident or sometimes it's a matter of we're going by what characters are popular. I get that. That's just the nature of the beast. But see, here's the thing. The lack of female superheroes is obviously intentional. Y'all want to fix that? That's fine. Go get the female heroes. Go get the female villains. Don't just have a bunch of supporting cast people be female over male. You want to make people important? You want to make them have more involvement in the story? Do it. And you do it by getting more characters that are female, that are interesting or cool, whether they're popular or not from the Marvel library. They have over 4,000 fucking characters. They got a couple women that are worth a damn. I promise you. And this is without including the X-Men, which take up the vast majority, because X-Men are the shit and they always have been better than the Avengers. You ain't gonna fight me on it. You ain't gonna at me on it. It's just a fact. If the movies had been under Marvel's direction, everyone would be singing the praises of the X-Men and the Avengers would be the new guys on the block. But that's okay. You can't keep a good mutant down. Anyways, if Black Widow is a woman or a female character that was in that movie, I'm going to be pissed. It won't make me change my opinion of the movie. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. I'm still going to try to see it because the odds of it being a successful movie, but also good, is, heavily in Marvel's favor. Unlike Warner Brothers, not that I hate Warner Brothers, but it's almost comically hilarious how inconsistent they are with live action. It's like they don't even care anymore. But if Taskmaster is a woman, even though Taskmaster's never been a woman, I'm calling bullshit and someone's too lazy to go and grab female characters. They're just too lazy to go and grab female actors to play female villains and female bad guys and everything in between in the Marvel landscape, even though Netflix straight up did it to high effect. Jessica Jones was their first show. The Defenders, two of the biggest characters in that whole show were female, and of course, they actually made the shit interesting, not just because they were women, but because they actually could carry plot lines. They were good actors, and the combat was somewhat believable, but I'm not including Jessica Jones in that. She's not meant to be good at combat. She can smack something really hard. That's it. And again, of course, season 2 of Iron Fist. But really, season 1 as well. The supporting cast all carried that shit. But, yeah. Please, 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 somebody let me know. I'm calling it now. Taskmaster's going to be a female that we saw in the trailer. And it's not going to be the original character. Oh, yeah. Devil May Cry 3 Remastered comes out in a few days. You're going to pick it up, right? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was asking the audience, but I was also going to ask you too. Oh, man. Co-op Bloody Palace. What if you just did that first instead of going through story mode? Doesn't matter how many floors you do. If you can last at least an hour in that bitch, you and I both know you gonna come out of there with so many orbs. It's gonna be basically like a new game plus on your first run through. Oh, I can't wait. But I digress. It's been another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I will see you guys when I see you guys.